A prisoner in chains, but not what he expected. Captain Raylan Kane had seen many things in war: blood, betrayal, even alien commanders begging for their lives. But nothing prepared him for this. The crash site was cold and quiet. Smoke still rose from the wreckage of the enemy scout ship, half buried in the frozen mud. Raylan stepped through the twisted metal with his blaster drawn. His squad had already searched the outside. There was only one life form left, deep inside the ship. He moved carefully, boots crunching on glass and wires. His helmet scanner beeped. One life sign. Weak. Female. Prisoner secured in Chamber C. The voice from command buzzed in his earpiece. Go in alone. She's not dangerous. Not dangerous. Raylan didn't believe it. The alien war species, called the Xerelians, were beautiful but deadly. Most of them could tear a human soldier in half with their bare hands. He knew that from experience. He reached the final hatch and pressed the code. The door opened with a soft hiss. Inside, the room was dark. Only the soft glow of broken lights on the floor lit the space. Then, he saw her. She was kneeling on the ground, arms shackled above her head, chained to the ceiling. Her long silver-white hair covered half her glowing face. Her skin shimmered a soft lavender blue, and her body looked fragile, trembling. Raylan raised his weapon instinctively. But then, she looked up. Her eyes were large and violet, filled with fear, not rage. Her lips trembled. And then, in perfect English, she spoke. Please, human, don't look at me like that. Raylan froze. What did she mean? Like what? He lowered his weapon slowly, confused by her words, confused by her face. This didn't look like a warrior. This didn't look like a spy. She looked like a girl who had been hurt. What's your name? Raylan asked, his voice calm but firm. She hesitated. Sci-Fi. Why are you here? I didn't fight. I was only watching, she said, trembling. But they punished me anyway. They said I betrayed the Empire. He stepped closer. Her wrists were bleeding from the metal cuffs. Her legs were scraped and bruises covered her arms. Her thin dress was torn. This wasn't a soldier. This was a prisoner. Maybe even a slave. Raylan checked her body for hidden weapons. There were none. No armor, no implants, no threat. Just a scared alien girl. Still, he had to be careful. Why did they punish you? He asked. Sci-Fi looked down. Because I spoke to a human. I asked him questions. I wanted to know more. They called me weak, said I was infected by your kind. So they locked me up. Raylan narrowed his eyes. His own people didn't even know aliens could feel emotions like this. They thought the Xerelians were monsters. But this girl had curiosity. She had tears. You're not infected, Raylan said quietly. She looked up, surprised. He stepped forward and touched the cuffs, then looked at the control panel. Don't, she whispered. If they see you help me, they'll punish you too. Raylan smirked. They'll have to catch me first. With a beep, the cuffs unlocked. Sci-Fi's arms dropped, and she fell forward into his chest. He caught her gently. She was shaking. Raylan held her steady. He didn't expect to feel her warmth, or the way her body glowed brighter near him. What are you? He asked softly. I don't know anymore, she whispered, but I'm not like the others. She pulled back, just enough to look into his eyes. Her face was close. Too close. And then she said the words again, this time in a soft voice full of something else. Please, don't look at me like that. Raylan didn't say anything. He didn't know what to say. But inside, something changed. He didn't see an enemy anymore. He saw someone who needed help, someone the galaxy had already thrown away. And he realized one more thing. If Command found out about this girl, they'd kill her. He had a choice now. Turn her in, or protect her. Raylan looked at her one last time. I'm taking you with me, he said, Sci-Fi gasped. You'll be hunted. Yeah, he said, but you're worth it. The secret she hid beneath her skin. Captain Raylan Kane had never broken a direct order before, but something about this alien girl, Sci-Fi, told him that rules wouldn't matter soon. The war between humans and Xerelians was already full of secrets. He had just found the biggest one. He led her through the wreckage of the downed ship, careful to avoid his own team. The other soldiers were scanning the debris, collecting alien tech. No one had seen her yet, and that was good, because if anyone did, Sci-Fi would be taken away and likely never seen again. Raylan pushed open the rear hatch of the ship and slicked her into the shadows of his armored transport. Once inside, he shut the doors and sat across from her. She was silent, breathing heavily, watching him with wide eyes, as if she still couldn't believe he had helped her. He tossed her a small blanket from the supply kit. "Cover up," he said. "We'll reach the outpost in 1 hour. You'll need to stay hidden." She nodded and wrapped the blanket around her bruised body. Her silver-white hair fell around her shoulders like moonlight, glowing faintly in the dim cabin. After a few minutes of silence, Raylan asked quietly, "Why did you glow when I touched you?" Sci-Fi looked away. Her hands clutched the blanket tighter. Her voice was barely a whisper. "It's not something I can control." "What is it?" "It's part of what they wanted to destroy." Raylan leaned forward. "Tell me." She hesitated. Then, slowly, she raised her right hand and pressed it over her chest. Her fingertips glowed. Then, her skin began to shift. A soft light pulsed beneath it. Blue, then purple, then soft pink. "What the hell?" Raylan whispered. "I'm not a full Xerelian," she said quietly. "I'm a hybrid, part of an older bloodline. A lost one." Raylan's eyes narrowed. "Lost?" Sci-Fi nodded. "Thousands of years ago, my kind used to bond with others, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. It was a deep connection, the union of minds and souls. My people used it to communicate, to heal, even to activate old alien technology." "But," Raylan asked, "but the High Clans saw it as a weakness. They feared what it could do. They feared love. So they ended the bloodline, or tried to." She looked up. Her violet eyes shimmered. "I'm the last one." Raylan leaned back slowly, stunned. "So, your body reacts to human emotion. It reacts to yours," she said, staring into him. "That's why I glow near you. Your thoughts, your pain. I feel them inside me." Raylan's heartbeat quickened. He'd heard of telepathic aliens, but emotional bonding with humans, that could change everything. And then he remembered his team. If they found out he was hiding this girl and what she could do, she'd be sent to the labs, dissected, or worse. "You're not safe here," he said. "I've never been safe," she whispered. A long silence followed. The hum of the ship's engine was the only sound. Raylan finally stood up and paced. "If I keep you hidden at base, someone will notice. The tech teams scan everything. You'll be flagged." She nodded. "Then don't keep me at the base." Raylan turned, confused. "Where else would you go?" She hesitated. "There's an old sector, abandoned. Sector 12X, they used to keep stolen alien tech there. It's underground. I can hide there." Raylan shook his head. "That place is sealed off." "Not for me," she said, her voice calm now. "I can open the doors. I feel the locks. They respond to me." Raylan stared at her. This was more than a bonding gift. Her blood carried some kind of alien command code. He realized now, she wasn't just rare. She was valuable and dangerous to the wrong people. "You're not just a prisoner," he said. "You're a key." She didn't deny it. Then she stood, wobbling slightly. Raylan stepped forward to help her, but she stopped him with a soft hand on his chest. "I don't want you to feel sorry for me," she said, "but I do need your help." Raylan nodded once. "Then we move at night. Suddenly, the transport jolted. A voice came through the speakers. "Captain Kane, we're approaching base camp. Prepare for security check." Raylan cursed under his breath. He turned to Sci-Fi. "Get into the storage compartment. Don't make a sound, no matter what happens." She obeyed without question, crawling into the dark panel and sealing herself inside. The vehicle landed with a soft thud. Raylan stepped out, putting on his best cold, emotionless soldier face. A guard scanned him. "Any survivors?" "None." Raylan lied smoothly. "Ship was empty. Mostly wrecked. Grabbed a few tech pieces. That's it." "All right. Move along." He walked past the gates, his heart pounding. One wrong word, one scan, one slip-up, and everything would collapse. But as he entered the hangar and looked at the stars above, he felt it again. That strange warmth he had only felt once before. He touched his chest. His skin still held the heat of her touch. Whatever she wasn't a threat. She was something new, something the galaxy wasn't ready for. And he wasn't going to let her be destroyed. Human emotions are contagious. The hidden storage compartment in Raylan's quarters was small, dark, and barely breathable, but Sci-Fi didn't complain. She stayed quiet, just as he had asked. She could hear the hum of machines, the buzz of voices outside, and his footsteps pacing just a few feet away. She had trusted a human. For the first time in her life, she'd chosen to believe in someone, and it scared her more than the war. Meanwhile, Captain Raylan Kane sat stiffly at his desk, pretending to fill out reports. His eyes, however, kept drifting to the hidden panel on the wall. Behind it, an alien girl who could change the future. He had reviewed her words again and again. "My people used to bond with others. Your pain, I feel it inside me." What did it mean? Was she reading his mind? Was she manipulating him? He didn't think so. But the feeling growing inside him, it was getting stronger. He didn't just want to protect her. He wanted to understand her. He stood up, locked his door, and opened the secret compartment. The metal slid aside silently. Inside, Sci-Fi's glowing eyes met his. "You can come out now," he whispered. She stepped into the room, her pale lavender-blue skin softly lit in the low light. Her hair shimmered like silver silk, and her expression was tired but calm. "You're still breathing," she said softly, trying to make a joke. Raylan smiled. "So are you." They sat together quietly, facing each other. Raylan handed her a protein bar and some water. She accepted them with a grateful nod. "You don't look like the enemy," he said. "I don't feel like one," she replied. "At least, not when I'm around you." He watched her closely. "What happens when you feel emotions? Do you always glow?" "Not always," she answered. "Only when they're strong. Fear, joy, sadness. Are you glowing now?" Sci-Fi hesitated. "Yes." Raylan blinked. "Why?" She looked at him with a strange expression, half smile, half sadness. "Because I'm afraid of losing this moment." A heavy silence followed. He could feel it now. The air between them was different, like electricity, but gentle, like something alive. Then she reached out and touched his hand. Her fingers were cold, but as they rested against his skin, he felt a pulse. Not just from her hand, but in his chest, and in his mind. A whisper. "Raylan." He pulled back, startled. "What was that?" Sci-Fi looked down. "I'm sorry. Sometimes, when I touch someone I'm close to, I connect deeper than I mean to. You said my emotions affect you. Can you feel them now?" She looked into his eyes. "You're scared, but not of me. You're afraid of what's happening between us." Raylan took a deep breath. She was right. He had faced war, death, but never something like this. "You're dangerous," he said quietly. "I know," she whispered, "and I don't care." Sci-Fi's eyes widened. Her lips parted like she wanted to say something. But then, The alarm buzzed. A voice echoed through the base speakers. Security breach in data wing. Unauthorized access detected in vault systems. All personnel report to alert stations. Raylan stood immediately. Stay here. Don't move. But Sci-Fi grabbed his arm. No, it's not a breach. It's a signal. Raylan turned to her. What kind of signal? She closed her eyes. Someone found me. Or rather, found something connected to me. Raylan's blood went cold. Are they coming? Sci-Fi nodded slowly. Yes, and if they sense me, they'll destroy this base to get me back. Raylan cursed under his breath. He had just risked everything to protect her. And now her very presence was a magnet for destruction. But Sci-Fi stood up. I can help, she said. Let me go to the vault. I can block the signal. I can stop it. No, Raylan snapped. It's too dangerous. You said I'm dangerous, she replied, eyes glowing brighter. Then let me be. Raylan hesitated. Then he grabbed his gear and handed her a stolen base uniform. Put this on. If anyone sees you, they'll think you're one of us. They moved quickly through back corridors, avoiding cameras. Sci-Fi stayed close, her hand brushing his arm from time to time. Each time she touched him, he felt calmer, more focused, like she wasn't just reading his emotions, she was balancing them. They reached the data wing. Alarms flashed. Security bots scanned the halls, but Raylan flashed his ID and got through. Inside the vault, a glowing cube pulsed with strange symbols. That's it, Sci-Fi whispered. It's calling to me. Raylan pulled out his scanner. It's locked. Human tech can't override it. Sci-Fi stepped forward. She placed her hand on the cube. It responded instantly. The light grew softer. The alarms shut off. The signal stopped. Then, the cube opened. Inside it was a small device, shaped like a heart. What is that? Raylan asked. Sci-Fi stared at it, tears forming in her eyes. It's my mother's core. She was one of the last hybrid bloods like me. They took her memories, locked them in here. Raylan felt the weight of the moment. This wasn't a weapon. This was her family, her truth, and she had risked everything to find it. She held the core tightly and looked up at him. Now do you understand? She whispered. I wasn't made to destroy. I was made to feel and to connect. But my people feared that more than war. Raylan stepped forward. I don't fear you. Sci-Fi's hand found his again. You should, she said with a sad smile, because human emotions are contagious. And in that moment, under the red emergency lights and the silence of the vault, something unspoken passed between them. Not war, not fear, not survival. Something deeper, something dangerous, and something beautiful. They want her dead, and him erased. The vault was silent. The alarms had stopped, but Captain Raylan Kane knew the real danger had only just begun. Sci-Fi stood next to him, clutching the heart-shaped alien core in her hands. Her glowing lavender skin looked pale under the dim lights. She had stopped the signal, for now, but the damage was already done. They know I'm alive, she whispered. Raylan stared at the device. Who? Your people? No, she replied, voice low. Worse, the Zarelian Purity Council. They're the ones who erased my mother, the ones who ordered my death. They created an army to hunt hybrids like me, like her. Raylan's fists clenched. He had fought aliens before. He had seen evil. But this was something colder, something systemic. They'll come for both of us now, she added. They won't stop. Raylan nodded. Then we won't stop either. They left the vault quickly. But when they reached the hallway, something was wrong. 3 armed human soldiers stood outside, fully armored, visors down, weapons raised. Captain Kane, one said, you're under arrest for unauthorized access and possible treason. Raylan didn't blink. He stepped in front of Sci-Fi. She's under my protection, he said. We know, the lead soldier said coldly. That's why you're being removed. Then the soldier raised a shock blaster and fired. The world went dark. Raylan woke up in a cold metal room, his hands cuffed to a steel table. His head ached. His mouth was dry. The room smelled like old sweat and fear. Across the table sat Commander Raylan, his former superior officer, a man who once called him the best pilot in the quadrant. Now, he didn't even look him in the eye. You disappoint me, Raylan, the commander said. We trusted you, gave you freedom. And you used it to protect the enemy. She's not the enemy, Raylan growled. She saved us. She shut down the alien signal. Raylan stood. We know she accessed the vault. She opened a relic no human tech could touch. That makes her extremely valuable. And extremely dangerous. You're afraid of what she represents, Raylan said. She's proof they're not all monsters. That they can feel. Bond. Maybe even change. That's exactly why we can't allow her to live. Raylan's blood ran cold. What did you do with her? She's being prepped for transfer to Facility 9, Raylan said. They'll break her down. Study her. Tear apart every cell, if they have to. No, Raylan whispered. Yes, the commander replied. And once she's gone, you'll disappear too. Quietly, officially, you'll die in an accident. One that never gets reported. Raylan laughed bitterly. So this is what we've become. No, Raylan said. This is what we've always been. You just stopped pretending. He walked out, leaving Raylan in the dark. Meanwhile, Sci-Fi was alone again. She sat in a bright white room. No shadows, no windows, just cameras, bright lights, and cold metal. Her hands were locked in cuffs that scanned her skin every few seconds. A voice from the ceiling repeated the same words every hour. Remain calm. Do not resist. Your cooperation ensures survival. She wasn't calm. And she wouldn't survive in this place. But she wasn't alone either, because inside her palm, she still held the core. Hidden, small, and pulsing softly beneath her skin. Her mother's memory lived inside it. She had touched it earlier and felt something. More than a recording. It was almost like a presence, a voice. And that voice whispered, "Don't wait. Fight back." She closed her eyes and listened. Back in the holding cell, Raylan sat, breathing hard. His cuffs were locked tight. The room was sealed, but he knew military systems. He'd helped design some of them. He tapped his foot in a slow rhythm. 3 beats. Pause. 2 beats. Repeat. It wasn't random. It was a signal. The moment he was arrested, he had activated a sub-protocol in his boots, an emergency distress code that only one person in the galaxy would understand. Her name was Sergeant Emery Voss, and she owed him her life. 15 minutes later, Raylan heard the click. The door opened silently, and a shadow slipped inside. Still getting into trouble without me. A woman's voice whispered. Raylan grinned. Hey, Emery. She pulled out a small cutter and sliced the cuffs. You've got 5 minutes. After that, I can't help you. I need to get to the lab. They're holding her there. Emery handed him a blaster. Then you'd better move, because I just heard they're prepping the scalpel team. The escape began. Raylan moved like a shadow, silent, fast, focused. With Emery covering the halls, he reached Lab Block 7 in under 3 minutes. But when he got there, he stopped cold. The lights were out. The cameras were broken. And inside the white room, there was no Sci-Fi. Only melted cuffs, sparking machines, and a single word burned into the wall in alien script. Emery arrived seconds later, gun raised. Where is she? Raylan touched the writing. The letters pulsed. He translated it slowly. You taught me strength. I won't be a prisoner again. Raylan stepped back. A strange feeling filled his chest. Pride, fear, awe. She escaped. he said softly. By herself. Then where the hell is she now? Emery asked. He didn't answer. Because deep down, he already knew. Sci-Fi wasn't running. She was fighting back. And she had just declared war. The escape that shook the galaxy. The lab was wrecked. Sparks danced on the floor like angry fireflies. The white walls were scorched black. The cameras were melted. The cuffs destroyed. And Sci-Fi was gone. Captain Raylan Kane stood silently in the wreckage, his hand still resting on the alien script she had left behind. You taught me strength. I won't be a prisoner again. Her words echoed louder than the alarms. Beside him, Sergeant Emery Voss was still holding her blaster, scanning the area. How the hell did she do this? She asked. Raylan shook his head. I don't know. But this was no panic attack. She was in control. She left no trace, Emery added. No direction. No escape route. No, Raylan replied. She left one thing. He pointed to a small pulse on the wall. Hidden in the alien script was a second symbol, a frequency code. Raylan recognized it. It was the old distress channel used only by outcast Xerelians, those who had rejected the war. The Broken Wing faction. She's sending a message, Raylan whispered, but not just to me, to them. Meanwhile, deep in the forested moon of Threk 7, the wind howled through jagged trees as Sci-Fi dropped to her knees in the underbrush. Her breath came fast. Her body trembled. Not from weakness, from power. Her escape had unlocked something inside her. Something ancient. Something that had been sleeping in her blood. When the scientists tried to dissect her, the core her mother had left behind had activated. And in that moment, she remembered. Everything. How her mother had died to protect her. How the Purity Council had tried to erase her. And how her blood carried more than emotion. It carried command. She wasn't just a hybrid. She was a living key, coded with access to the lost network of the ancients. A network that could awaken machines long buried beneath alien soil, machines that had once ruled the stars. And now, they were listening to her again. She looked up. The trees swayed. Her skin glowed faint purple. From the shadows, strange eyes watched her, not human, not Xerelian. Then one of them stepped forward. A tall alien with gray skin, broken armor, and a scar over one eye. He knelt. We heard the signal, he said in a low voice. You carry the blood of the first flame. Sci-Fi nodded. I do, but I'm not here to rule. Then why did you call us? I need help, she said. I need to stop the war. And I need to save the human who saved me. Back at base, Raylan moved fast. Too fast. He and Emery rushed to the flight deck, past soldiers who had no idea what had just happened. He had no orders, no command, no permission. He didn't care. He only had one mission now. Find her. Protect her. He punched in the emergency launch override on his old black scout ship, the Widow's Cry. The doors hissed open. You're not supposed to be here, a young tech officer shouted. Raylan raised his blaster. File a complaint. He and Emery climbed inside. As the ship powered up, Emery looked at him. Are you sure she wants to be found? Raylan didn't answer right away. Then he whispered, yes. The ship blasted into the stars, punching through the atmosphere and disappearing into the void. Hours later, in orbit over Threk 7, Raylan found the signal. A soft, pulsing light. Old alien code, but now mixed with something newer. Human code. His own encryption. She left a trail, Emery said. For you. He smiled. Told you. They followed it down to the surface, landing in a dark valley surrounded by trees. As they stepped out, the first thing they noticed was the silence. No animals, no wind, no life. And then, movement. Figures stepped from the forest. Silent, tall, alien. They weren't hostile, but they weren't welcoming either. Raylan kept his hand near his blaster. "Where is she?" he asked. The lead alien pointed to the sky, and there, floating above a stone platform, was Sci-Fi. Her body was glowing like a star. Her silver hair flowed behind her like fire in zero gravity. Her arms were raised, her eyes shut. Symbols surrounded her, floating in the air. "What the hell?" Emery breathed. Raylan stepped forward. Sci-Fi opened her eyes and slowly drifted down. She landed softly on the platform. Her glow faded to a gentle shimmer. "You found me," she said softly. "I followed the signal," he replied. She walked toward him. The aliens stepped aside. "You're different," he said, eyes wide. "I remembered who I am," she said. "And now, so does the galaxy." She held up the heart core. "It's not just a memory chip. It's a map to the ancient vaults, places where peace was once made, and where power was hidden." Raylan stepped closer. "You can change everything." "I can try," she said, "but not alone." Raylan reached out. "I'm with you." She smiled, a real, soft smile. And then, the ground shook. A new ship broke through the clouds overhead, black, jagged, and massive. "The Purity Council," Sci-Fi said. "They found me." Raylan stepped in front of her. "Then let them try." The human who made the alien gods tremble. The sky above Threk 7 turned black. The peaceful forest was drowned in shadow as the Purity Council's worship, the Eye of Judgment, descended from the clouds like a steel demon. Its surface was covered in red glowing symbols, and its engines screamed like thunder. From the ground, Captain Raylan Kane didn't flinch. He stood on the ancient stone platform beside Sci-Fi, staring at the massive ship as it prepared to land. All around them, the outcast Xerelians, the Broken Wing, formed a silent circle. Their glowing weapons were drawn, their eyes filled with fury. These weren't soldiers, they were survivors, forgotten warriors, and now, followers of Sci-Fi. But even they looked uneasy as the enemy descended. Raylan stepped forward and looked at Sci-Fi. "You said this core is a map," he said. "What else is it?" Sci-Fi turned to him slowly. Her face was calm, but her eyes were glowing brighter than ever. "It's also a key." "A key to what?" She raised her hand, and suddenly the ground beneath the platform began to rumble. From the earth, massive stone spires rose, glowing with the same symbols that danced in her blood. The platform lifted higher, forming a tower. Vines and dust fell away, revealing a long-lost machine built into the mountain. The ancient vault had awakened. The Broken Wing gasped. Some fell to their knees. Even Emery stood frozen. Raylan, however, only stepped closer to Sci-Fi. "What is this?" he asked. She whispered. "It's called the Voice of Harmony. The ancients built it to end wars. It connects minds, links hearts. It forces leaders to feel the pain they cause." Raylan's eyes widened. "You're going to make them feel." "Yes," she said, "but I can't power it alone. I need someone pure, someone not born from war." She turned to him. "I need you." Above them, the warship released a loud boom as its landing gear extended. Dropships began to fall from its sides, raining fire as they headed toward the forest. The Broken Wing warriors began shouting and preparing to fight. Emery grabbed her rifle. "We can't win this fight." Raylan looked up. "We're not going to fight." "What?" "We're going to end the war." Moments later, inside the ancient vault, deep within the glowing stone structure, Raylan stood with Sci-Fi in a chamber unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls pulsed with soft light, floating crystals hovered in the air. Symbols from alien languages shimmered and moved like rivers of ink. In the center of the room stood a bonding pedestal, 2 circles side by side. "Stand there," Sci-Fi said softly. Raylan stepped onto one. She stepped onto the other. She looked into his eyes. "If you do this, you open yourself completely. Every feeling, every thought, Nothing stays hidden. I trust you, he said. She smiled. Then the room lit up. Outside, the Purity Council's forces landed. Soldiers in black armor stormed the clearing. They surrounded the platform, weapons ready. One of them, a tall, cold-eyed general, raised his arm. "Bring the traitor out," he ordered, "and kill the human." But just then, the sky turned white. A pulse shot from the vault, straight into the clouds. The soldiers froze. Inside the vault, the bonding had begun. Sci-Fi and Raylan were floating, glowing, their eyes locked, their hearts pounding, their minds merging. Raylan saw flashes of her childhood, her mother singing a lullaby while hiding in a cave, her first taste of human kindness, her first kiss, awkward and full of fear, her first punishment, cold metal, and screams. Sci-Fi saw Raylan's life too, his first command, his first kill, his brother's death in the Second Orbital War, and the guilt he never showed anyone. Tears flowed down her cheeks. "I didn't know your pain ran so deep," she whispered. "I didn't know anyone could feel it with me," he replied. Then the vault pulsed again, and outside, everything stopped. The soldiers dropped their weapons. The generals fell to their knees, gasping for breath. The warship powered down midair. Because suddenly, every soldier felt it. The pain, the fear, the loss, the loneliness, the humanity. For the first time in history, the entire invading army felt what it meant to be human. And they couldn't bear it. They screamed, cried. Some clawed at their helmets. Others simply lay on the ground, whispering apologies. The broken wings stood in silence, eyes wide with awe. And on the platform, Raylan and Sci-Fi returned, hand in hand. Sci-Fi's voice echoed across the forest, carried by the vault. "If you feel what I feel, if you know what he's shown me, then you know this war is not worth a single more tear." Later that night, the Purity Council withdrew. No blood was spilled. No weapon fired. They simply left, because their hearts could no longer carry the hate they had once proudly worn. In the quiet after the storm, Raylan sat under the stars, staring at the sky. Sci-Fi sat beside him, resting her head on his shoulder. "You changed them," he said softly. "No," she replied. "We did. Do you think they'll come back?" She thought for a moment. Maybe. But next time, they won't come with fire. They'll come with questions. He nodded. "And maybe answers." She turned to him. "You're the only human who's ever touched the vault." Raylan smiled. "Guess I'm famous now." She laughed softly. "More than famous." He looked at her. "What does that mean?" Sci-Fi blushed. Her glow deepened. "In my culture, when two people bond like we did, it's not just emotional. It's what? It's sacred. We're connected now." Raylan's heart skipped a beat. "Like married." Sci-Fi smiled shyly. "More than that. Please, human, don't look at me like that, or I'll love you forever." The war was over. Not with bullets, not with bombs, but with emotion, human emotion, shared through a bond that no machine or alien technology could stop. And yet peace was only the beginning. Captain Raylan Kane sat by the lake on the moon of Threk 7, watching its twin suns rise. The sky turned from deep purple to soft gold, lighting up the forest below. The air smelled of moss and morning rain. Beside him, wrapped in a soft green robe, was Sci-Fi. She was no longer afraid of being seen, no longer hiding behind chains, lab walls, or shadows. She was free. And in that freedom, she had become something no one expected. A symbol of peace, a leader, a legend. But to Raylan, she was still just Sci-Fi, the girl who once whispered, "Please, human, don't look at me like that." And now, she was the one staring. "You're quiet this morning," she said softly. Raylan chuckled. "I'm used to battles, not peace. I guess my brain doesn't know what to do." She smiled, then let it rest. A breeze passed between them. Her silver hair flowed gently. Her glowing lavender skin shimmered in the rising light. He turned to her slowly. "You really meant it, didn't you?" he asked. "Meant what?" "That we're bonded. That we're something more." She nodded, her expression turning serious. "In my culture, the kind of bond we shared inside the vault, it's deeper than marriage. It's soul to soul. Even across space, even across lifetimes, I'll always feel you." Raylan's heart beat a little faster. "I'm not afraid," he whispered. She looked down. "I am," she admitted. He frowned. "Why?" "Because every time you look at me like that, I feel like I'm falling all over again." She paused. Her fingers brushed against his. "And I know what comes after peace. Politics. Power struggles. People trying to use us, or separate us." Raylan nodded. "Let them try." Sci-Fi smiled sadly. "They will." She reached into her robe and pulled out a small glowing shard, the heart core of her mother. "Even now, they're watching. All over the galaxy, new factions are rising. Some praise what we did. Some call it betrayal. Some want me to lead. Others want me dead." Raylan leaned in. "Then we face them together." But she pulled away slightly. "What if together puts you in danger?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stood up and looked at the lake. His reflection stared back. A soldier no longer in uniform, but still ready for a fight. He spoke softly, not turning around. "When I met you, you were in chains. Broken. Afraid." He turned to face her. "And even then, you were stronger than I've ever been. You risked your life for truth. You stood up to your own people. You walked into the vault, not knowing if it would destroy you." He stepped closer. "You're the reason thousands didn't die. You made gods tremble. You ended a war." He paused, then smiled. "And I just followed the girl with the glow." Sci-Fi laughed softly, covering her mouth. "Raylan." He stepped even closer. "So if you think I'd ever leave you, because some council is angry or some army wants revenge, then you don't know me at all." He reached out and took her hands. And then, looking into her glowing violet eyes, he said, "Please, alien, don't look at me like that, or I'll love you forever." Sci-Fi blinked. Her glow brightened. Then she whispered, "Too late." Weeks later, the galaxy had changed. Peace summits were being held between human colonies and rogue Xerelian clans. Small alliances were forming in distant systems. Military spending dropped. Trade grew. The vault on Threk 7 became a protected site under both flags. And in the middle of it all, Sci-Fi and Raylan. They weren't just leaders. They were a story. A human man who gave his life to protect a prisoner. An alien woman who opened her heart. And the galaxy's future. They were hunted once. Now they were followed. They were feared once. Now they were believed. And yet they lived quietly, together, far from the noise, in a small home near the cliffs of Threk 7. No guards, no politics, no armor. Just the two of them and their future. One evening, Raylan stood in the doorway, watching Sci-Fi as she sat on the floor of their room, painting symbols with glowing ink on the wall. "More messages for the future?" he asked. She smiled. "For our children, when they're ready." Raylan raised an eyebrow. "Children?" Sci-Fi nodded, her smile growing softer. "I didn't want to say anything before, but I felt it." She placed her hand gently on her stomach. Raylan's heart stopped for a moment. "You're." She nodded. "The bond we shared, it created something new, something that's never existed in the universe before." Raylan walked toward her slowly. A human and Xerelian child. She took his hand and placed it over her heart. "Not just a child," she whispered. "A new beginning." Raylan knelt beside her. And for a long time, neither of them spoke. Because words weren't enough. Only the bond between them, the energy, the emotion, the love, told the full story. And it didn't need translation. Far beyond the stars. In a secret chamber, hidden in the depths of the Purity Council's last stronghold, a single general stared at the screen in silence. He had watched everything. The vault, the bonding, the peace, and now, the child. He turned to his fellow commanders and said only 3 words. It has begun.